Before this video starts, I just want to give a massive shout out to all my channel members. If you want to receive a shout out, then become a channel member today and you'll be shown on screen like all these other channel members here. Anyways, enjoy the video. In version 15.0, a brand new Uber rare was added to the Battle Cats as a part of the 13th anniversary event. This Uber being Nyanko-Oh. This Uber has an extremely unique unlock condition, being that they're acquired from the catnip challenges by unlocking all 5 of the ranger cats. Which, by the way, if you want me to review all 5 of these guys, be sure to let me know in the comments, but here are each of the unlock requirements for them. This effectively makes it a free Uber, but how well does this unit actually perform? Well, in this video, I want to go over their kit to see what this Uber has to offer. The footage of them is at level 50. I believe the best place to start is by looking at their stats. At level 30, they sport 37,000 health and with their explosion, deal 54,400 damage and sports 2.7k DPS. They're strong against red, black, and Aku, as well as having the ability to slow them for 2 or 2.4 seconds depending on the trait. They also have a 15% chance to create a savage blow and are immune to weaken, surge, and explosions. The best way to describe this unit's generalist usage is as a second Crazed Bahamut, a unit who serves as solid backline generalist damage in the early game, but doesn't have the stats to keep up. Like Crazed Bahamut, the one stat that holds them back greatly is their 19.83 second long TBA, which is just 5 frames shorter than Bahamut's. This unit, however, does have a slight piercing capability with explosion, which can give it the edge over Bahamut in some situations. They also sport a faster force swing, which leads to less misses, though it's still quite long, lasting 3.53 seconds. They both sport the same 6 speed stat, but this is partly true for Nyanko-Oh, but more on that later. While extremely rare to get, this unit can also Savage Blow, tripling their base damage to 163,000 damage, which is spread all across their explosions. However, this isn't reliable due to the long TBA and 15% activation chance. This unit's survivability is a bit questionable as well, seeing as they only have 2 knockbacks. This does not give them many chances to reposition, and their low base health means they could die very quickly if they get pushed at all. This unit, however, is strong against red, black, and Aku. Against red and black enemies, they spore 93,000 effective HP and deal an effective 97,000 damage, while for Aku, they sport 74,000 HP and deal an effective 81,000 damage against them. This unit could also slow for 2 to 2.4 seconds, providing some crowd control against a wide range of enemies. In saying this, however, their uptime is astonishing low, as the uptime for Aku is only 10%, while for red and black enemies, the slow uptime is 12% post-treasures. This means that this crowd control is very much just a bonus. Red and black are fairly common traits in the early game, and an accessible anti-Aku early game is hard to come by, so this unit can have plenty of chances to shine. Again, however, this unit still doesn't have the stats to keep up into the later parts of the game. The Savage Blow, again, is not to be relied on, but if it does trigger, it can deal a gigantic 293,000 damage to red and black enemies, while dealing 244,000 damage to Akus. This unit also sports several immunities in Weaken, Surge, and Explosion. In terms of Weaken immunity and their targets, the most major of these is Hanya, whose Weaken can devastate most units. However, this unit's sluggish speed and Hanya's high damage makes it so they can't do much. The other enemies that can weaken and they can target are all extremely late game enemies, like Kurokrok and Dark Dober, who, by the time you fight them, much better units will probably be in your disposal. Surge immunity does give them more use as an early game Aku counter on top of being relatively accessible. This can allow them to thwart the likes of Cindersnatch and Condemned Pang Death Surge spam. Once again though, by the time you get into fighting later game surges, you will most likely have way better options to deal with enemies like Red Energy and some of the malevolent cats. Explosion immunity is mainly meant for the event Mamam boss, but it does have a slight use case as a backliner for the Bahamut talent stage, similar to how Musashi was used during the release of Floor 30, considering explosion immune units are quite a rarity at the moment. Outside of this, it really doesn't help much. This unit also does have a niche in both N1 Grand Prix and Babies First, as both of these stages only allow normal and uber rares to be used, and seeing as this is an uber rare, it can give players who may not have the best units, though this is less so for Babies First, as this stage expects you to use stronger ubers. For N1 Grand Prix, they could be used especially when the Shadowboxer K spawns as a way to help deal with it. There is one other major thing to discuss, as this is a trait unique to this unit and the rest of the 13th anniversary event units. These being that besides this unit, they all have unique restricted cat combos, which only affect specific units. Each of the 5 ranger units have a unique cat combo that only works with each other and Nyanko-Oh, these being Supervillain Slayer, Research Up Extra Large, Wave Immunity, Cost Down Extra Large, and Unit Speed Extra Large. The first combo with Red Ranger is purely for the 13th anniversary to let them deal more damage and tank more damage against the supervillain enemies present. The second combo is Research Up Extra Large with Blue Ranger, which reduces their cooldowns by 4.37 seconds. While this is useful for the smaller ranger units, this barely puts a dent in Nyanko-Oh's cooldown to 120.16 seconds. Wave Immunity with Yellow Ranger is the most interesting as it gives all ranger units wave immunity. This can expand Nyanko-Oh's role to let him deal with specific enemies like Berserk Cory, Toucan, and Death Cory, though generally the waving enemies you would want to use them on are a bit later into the game, and you would have to use an extra lineup slot to give them wave immunity anyways. Although in saying this, if you lack Octopus or just need an early game wave immune unit, then here's your answer. Then we have Cost Down Extra Large with Green Ranger, which reduces all ranger units' costs by 20%. In this unit's case, this brings their cost down to 3,600, which could allow them to get out more quickly before major threats spawn, or put less of a dent into your wallet to afford something else. Last is Movement Speed Extra Large, boosting unit speed by 30%. In this Uber's case, their speed goes from 6 to 8. Not much faster, mainly allowing them to get into the front line just a little sooner. In order of usefulness, each combo provides generally for this unit. Reds is obviously the least useful, seeing as it's only useful for a few select event enemies. Then we have Blue Ranger's combo, which even being an extra large research combo, doesn't reduce the cooldown to any meaningful rate due to the flat rate that research combos bring the cooldown by. Then there's the speed up combo, which gives them a slight bump in speed to be more in line with the likes of Eraser. Wave Immunity combo can provide good value by giving access to an option most wouldn't have in the early game. The most useful combo for this unit is the Cost Down combo, as by reducing the cost by 900, you could easily afford a lot more things, either a wallet upgrade or another cheap offensive unit to help pile on damage. So, how useful is Nyanko-Oh? Well, this unit is like Crazed Bahamut, being a very strong backliner for the early game, with the bonus of targeting and CCing traits that are common in the early game, but their ability to keep up is extremely questionable. Their similar TBA stats do not help at all in this regard. Overall, a unit that's good early game, but fails to keep up with everything in the later parts of the game. With all that said, I want to thank you for watching this analysis of Nyanko-Oh. If you thought this insight was interesting, then be sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy Battle Cats content, and comment down below with your thoughts on them. I'd love to hear what you all think of them. Also, shout out to the following channel members: Dr. Deadly, Gomet, Virus Aparo, Just a Shark, Gross Cat the Ultra, Potato King, Atsushi, King Wolf, Tentacle Gaming, Clamorous, Barely Grover, Jade Rabbit, Mustafa, and Janek Altenberg for being silver members or higher. If you want to receive a shout out like these channel members here, then become a silver member or higher today. Becoming a channel member supports what I do in a way that helps keep the lights on and allows me to continue making content for all of you to watch. Anyways, I hope you have a wonderful day.